Okay, so picture this. You're out with a friend, maybe at a coffee shop or a restaurant, and you notice they have this thing. They have to sit in a very specific seat, the one with their back to the wall facing the entrance. It might seem like just a weird little quirk, but it actually points to something way, way deeper about how our brains are wired. And you know what? It's a surprisingly common thing. It's so easy to just write it off as, oh, they're just anxious, or maybe even a little paranoid. But the real reason is so much more fascinating. So why do they do it? Seriously, what is going on inside their head that makes facing that door an absolute non-negotiable? Well, let's dive right into that. What if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if it's not some kind of personality flaw, but it's actually a function of our internal architecture? We're talking about the built-in, hardwired security system that every single one of us has inside our brain. To really get a handle on this, we first need to put a name on it. We need a label for this behavior. And what we're talking about here is a state called hypervigilance. So let's break down what that actually means. Now, the really crucial point here is that this isn't just, paying attention. It's an enhanced state of awareness. Think of it like all your senses, your hearing, your sight, being dialed up to the absolute max. Your brain is actively and pretty intensely scanning for anything at all that might be out of place or potentially dangerous. And this feeling, it's not just one thing, right? It's a whole combination of things happening at once. Your senses are just soaking in more information, your eyes are constantly moving, scanning the room, and your brain is making these split-second calculations about safety. And all of that together creates that feeling of just being constantly on. All right, so now we know what it is, but why does our brain even do this? Well, to answer that, we've got to look at the blueprint of our own internal security system and see how the whole thing is built from the ground up. The whole process is incredibly fast, like blink and you miss it automatic. It all starts with some kind of sensory input, a loud sound, a sudden movement, and instantly the amygdala, which is basically your brain's little red alarm button, it just goes off. And before you're even consciously aware of what just happened, your body is already gearing up for action. It's this ancient protective mechanism that's built right in. The difference in how you perceive the world in these two states is, well, it's night and day. In a relaxed state, your brain is awesome at filtering out all the background noise so you can just focus on your conversation, on your coffee. But in a vigilant state, that priority flips completely. Every sound, every person walking past, all of it is processed as potentially important data. The filter is basically off and the scanner is definitely on. But here's a really key point that's so easy to miss. This is not some binary state you're either in or you're not. Hypervigilance, it exists on a spectrum. And we all move up and down that spectrum all the time, depending on the situation. You can kind of see how this works on a sliding scale. Most of the time, we're probably somewhere in that middle, aware state. Just your typical situational awareness. But different experiences, different environments, they can push us toward either end of the scale, from being totally zoned out and relaxed to being in a high-alert, hyper-vigilant state. And listen, it's not just about where you choose to sit in a cafe. This internal architecture shows up in so many different ways. Maybe you jump out of your skin when a door slams shut, or maybe you find it really hard to unwind in a new hotel room. Or, hey, maybe you're the person who always notices that one tiny detail that everyone else completely missed. These are all just different expressions of that exact same system doing its job. So what do we do with all this? What's the point of understanding how this all works? Well, this is where things get really interesting, because this is where we shift from just being aware of a behavior to truly understanding its purpose. And this next point, this is the real key to reframing this whole experience. Your brain isn't broken. It's a security system that is simply trying to protect you. It's not a flaw, it's not a disorder, it's a feature. It's a highly effective security system that is doing precisely what it was designed to do: keep you safe. And that's where the real power is, you see. Because once you understand the architecture, the why behind the feeling, you're no longer just a passenger along for the ride. You can start to recognize when your security system is kicking into high gear, and you can learn how to work with it instead of fighting against it. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that you kind of have the blueprint, think about your own experiences. Where do you think you fall on that spectrum of vigilance? What are the kinds of things that tend to trigger your own internal security system? Because understanding that, that's the first step to truly knowing yourself.